from Minerva. I've got some really beautiful brand new patterns from Stylark to share with you today. So we will put a link below this video where you can see all the latest patterns from Stylark. There's quite a few new ones that we've added recently and there's some absolute gems in there. I've just picked a few of my favourites to share with you today and it was really hard to narrow it down just to these 6 patterns. So do follow that link and check out all the new ones because there could be other ones there that you really love. Now I've picked a fabric to go with each pattern to give you some ideas on the sorts of fabrics you could use for each of these patterns, and these are my top picks which I think will pair beautifully with these patterns, and hopefully it'll just give you lots of ideas and inspiration for your next sewing project. So let's get stuck in. So the first pattern I've got is a dress pattern and this is called the Esther Warden dress. Now it's a very simple pattern is this one. It's a V-neck dress that has a V-neck at the back as well, which I think is a lovely detail. It has dart shaping at the bust, inseam pockets, so all the all-important pockets are there. And what is the special detail about this dress for such a simple pattern is the seam line that runs up the front and up the back of the pattern, and that will allow you to do some colour blocking as they've hinted at in the illustration on the pattern envelope here. And another beautiful detail is up that centre seam that runs up the front of the dress, they've added a split up there at the front of the pattern. So that to me just adds a little bit of elegance to this dress, and I see this as a wonderful dress to be able to wear on a summer holiday, or during the summer months. I think it would be perfect for a linen or a cotton, something that will hold the structure of it slightly, but still be lovely and light and breathable to wear when the weather's a little bit warmer. It's sleeveless as well, so again it all just adds to that simplicity of this pattern. Now the fabric I've chose for this, I was really inspired by the colour blocking effect. So on the left and the front panels of the dress, using 2 different colours and then the reverse on the back. So I've gone for 2 very neutral colours here today, but of course you could choose 2 colours that appeal to your colour palette, the sorts of colours that you enjoy wearing. I think doing like a black and a white or a black and an ivory would be a really lovely and bold monochrome look. Something like a bright pink and a bright purple, or a chartreuse green with a burnt orange, something like that. There's loads and loads of colour options, but the one that I've gone for today was slightly inspired by the pattern envelope, and this is our Blades linen and cotton blend fabric. So we have stocked this fabric for years and years at Minerva. It's one of our most popular and best-selling linen fabrics every single year, and it comes in a fantastic range of colours. So whatever colour combination you want to put together, I'm sure it exists in this fabric. Now it has quite a loose, very textured weave. It's not a slubby linen weave, but it is a very textured linen weave. It's really beautiful, and because it has the cotton in there, it doesn't crease quite so much as 100% linen fabric would, and it does have a little bit of structure, so I thought it would hold the shape of this dress beautifully, and it's going to be really cool and breathable to wear in the sun. So this is the first colourway, which is a very natural, like a stony kind of beige colour. And the second colour is this really beautiful, it's like a khaki, olivey, dusky kind of army green colour almost. And I thought those 2 paired together really beautiful. If you love natural colours, which like my mum is a huge fan of these sorts of shades, this would be right up her street, I know it. I think those 2 would look really well together, and I think that's the kind of outfit that you could accessorise with some some beautiful jewellery and some really lovely sandals, and yeah, it would just make a really subtle, understated but classic kind of outfit. Yeah, I just love the texture of this fabric, and the sort of opportunities for different colour blocking you could do with all the colours that range comes in are absolutely endless. So the next pattern I've got is a trouser pattern, and these are called the Delta Cargo Pants. So these are, you know, when you think of cargo trousers, this is just what I think of. So it has a waistband with a 4-fly zip detail, so it's a 4-fly. Then it has slanted pockets that come from the waistband, and like I really love that style of pocket. It's one of my mum's favourite types of pockets to sew as well, so again I know she loves this pattern. It has elastic in the waistband, which is going to make, you know, for a comfortable fit. And then it has cargo patch pockets with flaps on them on the sides of the trousers, and then it has patch pockets on the back as well. And then it's a straight leg. So they're quite simple. I think as far as trousers go, they'll be a relatively easy pattern to sew, and that elastic waistband, you know, is going to make them it's going to make for a comfortable fit. So the fabric I've chose for this one is a real classic when it comes to cargo trousers. So this is our Gabardino cotton len fabric, and it has a twill weave. And this is the khaki colourway, which, you know, I went for a very typical, traditional, kind of expected colour, I guess, for cargo pants. But it does come in lots of different colours, with this being one of our core ranges. You know, there's lots of brights or, you know, really bold colours. Or we've got, you know, navy, black, beige, you know, sandy colour. Or, you know, the more traditional ones as well. Now I love the idea of this fabric for the cargo pants, because, you know, it's a good weight. It has this lovely twill weave, which I think really suits a cargo pant, but it's actually quite soft, and it's not as heavy or structured or stiff as some of the cotton twill fabrics that we have on the site. It's a little bit softer, a little bit lighter in weight, but still, you know, absolutely, you know, there's enough weight and structure in there for a trouser like this. But I think that will make a really comfortable pair of cargo trousers, you know, just with the sort that you'd reach for again and again and again. And in a colour like this, I think they go with loads of things in your wardrobe, and with the sort of thing, you know, they'd be great for summer, but, you know, they would carry you all year round, I think. So if you decided to make these, you know, hopefully be a really worthwhile piece that you'd wear again and again and again. Now the next pattern I've got, this is something completely different to the last pattern. This is a really pretty, feminine, beautiful dress. This is the Philomena woven dress. And oh gosh, there's so many details on this pattern. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you love a bit of shearing, I think you'll like this pattern. And if you love a fit and flare kind of style, you know, so something that cinches you in at the waist, again, I think you'll like this pattern. Now, so let's run through all the details. So it has a gathered detail at the shoulders, which gives shaping in the bust. And it has a V-neck line, which then goes, there's a seam down the centre front at the bust, which then goes into a curved seam under the bust area, which has gathers into that seam, which again creates the fullness and the shape for the bust area. Then under that, it has a really interesting, almost like a triangle panel shape, with panels that go off that create the waistband area. But this triangle shape at the centre front is actually a sheared panel. So that's going to give you a little bit of flex in the garment as well, which is going to make it easier to fit, which I think is really a really clever design detail, which looks really pretty, but it's actually quite functional and will help you achieve a good fit as well on what is, let's face it, quite a fitted dress. So that's definitely going to make it easier to achieve a good fit. You do, however, also have the option of leaving that section plain if you wish. So if you prefer, you know, just a cleaner look without the shearing detail, you can absolutely do that with this pattern as well. And then the skirt area, so it's quite plain, you know, a little bit, not a straight skirt, there's a little bit of fullness there, but the detail in the skirt is that it has a gathered section which go just in the centre, which goes into that waistband, which I really think suits the gathers that you have on the bust and the shoulder areas. You know, it echoes that same kind of detail, so it's really, really well thought out and pretty, that I think. And then the sleeves are super, super pretty. So they have a gathered detail at the top of the sleeve, quite a full sleeve, and then it comes into, it's a 3/4 length, which comes into quite a wide sheared cuff panel, which again, that sheared cuff echoes the shearing that you have in the triangle panel at the front. So it all just works really well. And again, that shoulder ruffle, gathered detail as well. Again, that echoes the gathers elsewhere in the pattern. But you do also actually have another sleeve option as well, and that is, so that has gathers again at the top, quite a full sleeve again, 3/4, but that comes in, I think, drawn on elastic, so it draws it all in to that 3/4 length. So that one, you know, perhaps would suit the option. If you went without the sheared panel at the front panel section, you know, just had that plain, then perhaps you could go for the plain sleeve. That's how they've sort of recommended it on the pattern, but you know, you could mix and match that how you wanted. And then the other detail is that the panel that comes from this triangle sheared section in the middle is actually, so it actually forms a tie belt. So that comes round and ties at the back, and that's what really brings the dress in at the waist and creates the beautiful shape. And it just gives a lovely little detail at the back of the pattern as well. So as you can see, you know, there is lots of detail in this pattern, lots to talk about. Stylark rate this as, you know, it's on the 3 out of 4 for difficulty. So it's definitely a more involved project, and with all those details it's going to take, you know, it's not a super quick and easy make, but I do think it will be really worth the, you know, the time invested, because it is such a lovely pattern. Now for me, a pattern like this, you want a fabric that has lots of drape, fluidity and movement. So our viscose chalet fabric, the Minerva exclusive range, is perfect for it. And it has, because of the beautiful weight that this fabric has, coupled with that fabulous drape and fluidity, you know, it's going to really hang well on a garment like this, and either sleeve option will be beautiful, and all that shearing detail will just work perfectly. Now this gorgeous design is a beautiful, almost tropical watercolour leaf design. So if I hold that up to camera, hopefully you can see all the beautiful leaf details. So it has a black background, and then the leaf panels are actually filled with like almost like a painted watercolour effect in all these gorgeous shades of blue. So much detail in this fabric design, even though it's quite a simple print, and I just think the colours on that are what make this fabric sing. Blue fabrics are really popular here at Minerva, and this one has been really popular so far. I just think it's a gorgeous print, and for something like this that, you know, has a lot of pattern details, I thought, you know, you don't want something that's going to require pattern matching, because it would be such a headache in a pattern like this, and you know, on so many details would be near on impossible to pattern match in certain areas. So a pattern like this, a fabric design like this that doesn't require pattern matching at all, I think would be absolutely perfect. And you know, in a print like this, I think that would be lovely for summer, but again, you know, would carry you all through the year. Yeah, I think that will be absolutely gorgeous. So the next pattern we've got is a knit top pattern. So this is called the Aiden Knit top, and it's a really interesting pattern. So if you like wearing knit tees, you know, t-shirts, this could be a, you know, an interesting option for you, because it's got some details that make it extra special to just a plain basic tee. So it has seam detail, well, it has a round, very simple neckline that looks like it has a neckband on there. It's a short sleeve, and it has 2 seam lines that run from like the shoulder points right down the front. So that in a way a little bit like a princess seam, but not. But you know, almost in that kind of area. And then so the centre panel is just plain, but then at the sides, from this seam line, you've then got a patch that creates the sleeves, a patch that creates like this underarm section, and then you actually have pockets that are sewn into these side seams that create like a patch, almost sort of like a little bit of a slouchy pocket, which hangs, you know, in a really unusual and lovely way. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity for colour blocking with this. I think if you use a stripe fabric, it would be really unusual. If you used a patterned fabric, I think you just need to be mindful, you know, with all these seam lines that are going on, you know, it is going to break the pattern up. So you just need to keep that in mind. And yeah, with patterns like this, for me, I always kind of think, you know, if I'm putting all that work into sewing these seam details, you know, I probably want to, you know, make a feature of that and see them. So for that reason, I've chose a plain fabric, because I think it will really show off, you know, the details in this pattern. Now the fabric I've gone for is our classic cotton and elastane jersey fabric. And this again is a core range at Minerva. We have this in, I can't remember how many colours now, but it's way over 100 colours. It's crazy the amount of colours we stock this in. But it is the best quality cotton jersey with elastane that we've ever felt. It's absolutely beautiful, and that's the reason why we stock this one as our main core range cotton jersey, and why we do it in so many different colours. You know, you've so many choices. Whatever colour you want in a cotton jersey, we will have it in this range. It's a perfect weight as well for something like this. You know, it's not see-through at all. And you know, it has a beautiful softness. It feels lovely against your skin, and they added a little bit of elastane content, just means that it has really good stretch recovery, and yeah, it's just a really good quality cotton jersey. We've stocked it for quite a while now, you know, for a good few years, and we have customers that come back for this again and again and again. And yeah, like I say, in so many different colours, so you've so many choices there. This is a really pretty, like, sort of corally, like a mid-pink colour, which I thought would be really lovely for this time of year. But yeah, you've so many choices with that fabric. So the next pattern I've got to share with you is this the second to last pattern now. This is the Zamfi woven dress. Hope I've pronounced that correctly. And this again is another dress that has some really dramatic details. So if you love a project that you can get your teeth stuck into, this would definitely be one. So there's two different options with this pattern, and the main difference is in the length and the sleeve. So the things that are the same on both options is it has a beautiful collar detail at the neckline, which works into a V neckline, and it has pleated, well, like front tuck details that work all across the front. So you sew tucks in lines down the fabric at the, in the top section of the dress. And then what that does is at the bottom of the tuck, that then releases the rest of the fabric. So it creates a fitted effect at the top of the garment that then creates extra volume and shape in the dress, sort of like in the skirt section of the dress. So it's a really clever design detail, you know, and it gives a really decorative, beautiful effect, but that's actually very functional in terms of how it creates the shape of the overall garment. Really clever. And I've done, I think only one garment in the past that has tuck details similar to this, and it was quite a few years ago actually, but they're very fun to sew. You know, it is definitely a more involved project, is this, in that it was going to take you more time because of all these details, but I think they're really fun to sew. So if you enjoy, you know, details like that in your sewing projects, do take a look at this pattern. So like I said, the fullness at the bottom of those tucks, it creates quite a full skirt on this dress, which is going to be really lovely and comfortable to wear. It has inseam pockets, so if you love a pocket, that's already included on this pattern. And then the two sleeve options that you've got, so you've got one that it looks like it's about an elbow length sleeve, just very plain, and I do quite like that one because I think it really makes the tuck details the focus of the garment. But if you really love a puff sleeve and you want a full length sleeve, then there is that version as well. So it's a full length sleeve that gathers into a cuff at the end, and that, you know, just creates a really completely different look with the longer length on that option. So fabric for this pattern. Now I think fabric is key for this pattern, and I don't think you really want anything too soft and drapey, because the pleats, you know, you need something that's crisp and with a little bit of structure to really hold that, the sharpness and the crispness of that pleat, and also the structure that's then created at the bottom of the pleat. You know, if you have a fabric that's too soft and drapey, it's not going to hold that shape the same. So I've chosen this is our lightweight cotton, 100% cotton poplin fabric. Again, another core range at Minerva. Loads of different colour options in this. We've stocked it for years. Absolutely fabulous quality. It's, like I say, 100% cotton, and it is just absolutely beautiful. It washes and wears like a dream, does this fabric. And it's really, really versatile. Now you can see, you know, with it being 100% cotton and a poplin, it certainly has structure. But with it being the lighter weight of some of the cotton poplin options that we do, it means it's not going to be too big and bulky. You know, at the same time, you don't want anything really structured or too heavy, because it's going to feel massive then. And you know, I think anything too heavy, you're not going to get a crisp professional finish on those tucks. So yeah, this to me was the perfect balance of, you know, structure, weight, and your sort of crispness that I think will be perfect for this pattern. Now this is our plain red colourway. Again, I was a little bit inspired by the version on the envelope. I have a friend who absolutely, everything she sews, it's either black or red. She absolutely loves red. And when you look for red fabrics, it's surprising how difficult they can sometimes be to find. So when I saw this in our core range, it made me think of her, because I think she would wear something like this. And in a bright red colour like this, I think that would be absolutely fabulous. It would make a real statement garment without, you know, being a printed fabric. It would all be about those tucks and the shape of that skirt. I think it would be absolutely fabulous. Now the last pattern I've got to share with you today, so this is another knit top, but very different to the other one that I shared with you. So this is the Lucia Knit top, and the really special bit about this pattern is all about the wrap detail at the neckline. It's absolutely beautiful. So the pattern has a seam line up the front of the top. A straight hemline that's very simple, and then so because this seam line that runs up the front, one side goes into the neck piece, which creates this wrap around your neck. So I think it's actually a very quite simple project to sew. It looks more complicated than it is. Now with style art patterns, if you've sewn them before, you'll know that their instructions, they are very scant. They, you know, if you are used to indie patterns that go into lots of detail with photographs and all that kind of thing, you know, you might struggle with a style art pattern. If you're used to sewing big four patterns, I don't think there's that much difference. I mean, big four obviously come with diagrams and a reasonable amount of detail, whereas style art patterns often just come with a list of bullet point text. So, you know, that is something to bear in mind. But every time I've sewn a style art pattern, I do actually find them still relatively easy to follow. You know, they don't go absolutely to town on their instructions, but they are very concise, to the point, and to me that actually sometimes makes them quite straightforward. So, you know, I think it just depends on the sewer and perhaps your level of ability and just how you absorb information. You know, everybody is different, aren't they? But we do like to do lots of sew-alongs, which you'll see here on Minerva, where, you know, we hold your hand right from the start to the finish of sewing a sewing pattern, and we do them a lot on style art patterns because we know, you know, a lot of people, you know, do need that extra bit of help and support with them. But yeah, this pattern, you know, is actually quite an easy one, even though it looks, you know, quite complicated. And then you do have two sleeve options. So you have just a plain sleeve that's a little bit loose, and the same sleeve or which is drawn in with elastic at the cuff. So yeah, that creates two different looks as well, which I do think actually quite changes the look of the top, depending on what sleeve you go for. So fabrics for this pattern, you obviously need a knit, you need something with a reasonable amount of stretch. I think something with a little bit of drape works well, especially if you're going to go for the sleeve that's drawn in at the cuff, but especially, you know, for this neckline bit, you need something that's going to drape and sit really well. So I've chosen our beautiful Minerva exclusive viscose jersey fabric, which is actually the same type of fabric as the one I'm wearing today, and this fabric is absolutely beautiful. It is the best quality viscose jersey I have ever felt, hands down. And you know, I've been involved in the fabric industry for, you know, over 2 decades, and I've felt a lot of viscose jerseys in my time, and this is just beautiful. And I think it's mainly down to its weight. Has a really beautiful weight, and that weight makes the most fabulous drape you've ever seen in a viscose jersey. I mean, it's just so fluid, it's beautiful. It has a good amount of elastane in there, so the recovery on it, you can see how that pings back, is fabulous. And the softness and just the feel of it is just beautiful. It feels gorgeous against your skin. Viscose jersey has always been one of my favourite fabrics to sew with, because even though it's so soft and drapey, with it being made of viscose, it's not too slippery. You know, like if you compare it to say like an ITY fabric, they can be a nightmare to sew. Fabulous when sewn up, but they can be a nightmare to sew with. Whereas this gives you the looks, feel and drape that you get with an ITY, but without the difficulty of sewing, you know, with a synthetic fibre. The natural fibre of the viscose just means, you know, it's easier to handle, but you still get this fabulous drape. Now this print is our Boudoir Bouquet design, which has been one of our best sellers in the Minerva exclusive collection. It almost looks like velvet. The print is so clever, and the designer, the artist who created this, she's so talented. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I thought this would be a really good print for this pattern because it's a relatively small scale print, so the fact that it's distorted around that neckline because of that wrap detail, it's going to work really well in that. And you know, with the drape of this fabric, again, it's gonna sit really well, and it'll come into that cuff detail if you choose the elastic sleeve. That'll hang really well as well. So yeah, I think that would be absolutely gorgeous, and I hope somebody makes this one because I think that would be a really, really special knit top. It would really elevate it, but still be something that you could wear all the time. So that's all the patterns and fabrics that I had to share with you today. So as you can see, there's 6, you know, quite different patterns and quite a variety of different fabrics today. I really enjoyed putting those together for you, so I hope you found that inspiring. Do let me know in the comments below which was your favourite pattern from today's picks, which was your favourite fabric, and which was your favourite pairing. I'd love to hear from you and let me know, you know, and let me know which ones you liked. As always in our videos, we will tag everything below the video that I've mentioned today, so all the patterns and all the fabrics. So you'll find all those products tagged below the video on Minerva, so if you click on any of those, you'll get all the pricing details, the sizing details on the patterns, you'll be able to see all the colours that some of these fabrics come in. And as always, the great thing on the Minerva website is if anybody in the community has shared projects, things that they've made in either these fabrics or patterns, if they've tagged the products in their post, they will show on those product pages, so you can see what other people all around the world have been making in these gorgeous patterns and fabrics. And it's just really inspiring to be able to see what other people have made. And people are often really generous, sharing, you know, their tips and, you know, how they found the patterns and fabrics to sew with. So, you know, which can be really helpful information to help you decide, you know, if a pattern or fabric is right for you. We'd love to welcome you to join us at Minerva and join our wonderful sewing community that is growing every day. It's a fabulous place to chat sewing with people all around the world that are just as passionate about sewing as you are. You know, you can create a free profile, it's completely free to join, and you can you know, ask the community for tips and advice. You know, if you're stuck on a pattern or something, you can ask them for help. You can share your sewing plans and get people's feedback. You can you know, share your works in progress, let us know how you're getting on with things, and then of course you can share things that you've made. You know, you can share photos or videos, you just in any way you like. You know, you can use the site to get involved, and it's just a wonderfully supportive, welcoming, friendly, inviting community, you know, that everybody around the world is welcome to join, and we'd love to see you there. And yeah, just to, to get involved in our wonderful sewing community. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give us a like and give us a follow, and if you like, leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will see you again next time with some more sewing goodness.